The Australian Open might be done for another year, but perhaps the most important sporting moment of 2025 is still to come. This Thursday, all 7 candidates hoping to be the next IOC president will present their manifestos to all of the voting members from Lausanne in Switzerland. Being the president of the IOC is far more than just turning up to major sporting events. It requires a detailed knowledge of the state of world affairs, from geopolitics to handling billion-dollar budgets to where that economic modelling is going to come from. Also climate change, which is impacting sport around the world. And of course, the big one, remaining relevant to ever-changing audiences globally. So who will it be? There are only a handful of people on the planet who understand the machinations of the Olympic movement as much as my guest this week, Philip Bach, the managing editor from the International Society of Olympic Historians. Now, the full analysis about all 7 candidates can be heard on the Sports Ambassador podcast. Head to Patreon or Spotify to subscribe to that. But here's just a teaser when I put Philip on the spot. I don't know, did you have a top 3 or did you want to go there or not? and like you said, we don't vote, so it doesn't matter. It's not up to us, and we don't have a say. The media doesn't have a say. It's only the IOC members that vote. But with what you know and what you've looked at and what you've read, do you think there are 3 that stand out, or you can't separate them?
I don't think you can say that. Each one, you read those manifestos, and I've looked at them 2 or 3 times, and they're impressive documents, and people have sat down, they put in the hard yards over the last 4 or 5 months. They've probably been sitting there. It's probably been keeping them awake at night. What am I going to say in this, and how am I going to, not so much what are my ideas, but how am I going to articulate them in a way, it's like anybody applying for a job. When you might have the best CV in the world, but unless you present it in the right fashion and ring the bell at the right moment, and then it's as naught. But it's so difficult because each one of them has stuff to bring to the IOC.
They do.
And I think if I were president, the first thing I'd do afterwards is probably get all the other candidates together and say, look, I need you as a kind of advisory board, because I've seen how, noted how much, and that would lasso them all together afterwards as well. And actually make use of the ideas that they've got, put them on, get them involved with the commissions as leading the commissions, because clearly, there's so much expertise in leadership. You have to say that Samaranch comes across as very, very impressive. Lapartien and Co. Those would be the standout 3 that would probably be leading the race at this time, I would say. However, that doesn't mean that the others haven't got a chance of sneaking through on the inside. I think less likely, because people generally, particularly within the IOC, are conservative with a small c. They like to know that things are, the whole idea of the safe pair of hands is highly prized, isn't it? So, but I think those 3 probably have so far. And I think Lapartien, of the 3, is possibly an interesting outsider because he's much younger than the other 2. But I think those 3 are probably going to lead. But who knows? We've all been wrong on these on certain things before, and that's the great beauty of sport, isn't it? So, but I tell you what, the next week is going to be interesting to see how they perform after the hustings, and then of course on the 20th of March in Greece, the election is going to be electric.
On Wednesday, in just a couple of days' time, I'm going to bring you a one-on-one with Lord Sebastian Coe, President of World Athletics and one of the favoured candidates as the IOC President. That is just a day before all 7 of them will present to the IOC membership, the full membership, from Lausanne in Switzerland. Remember, for the full analysis with Philip Barker on all 7 candidates, head to the Sports Ambassador podcast on either Patreon or Spotify and subscribe.